Welcome to Charts Today for Friday, the 27th of February. And this is a chart of the S&P 500 future. And really, the chart says it all. We've got a buying thrust. This is the 60-minute chart. We've got a buying thrust that's produced an upside target and a selling thrust that's produced a downside target. And the key thing here is if we move higher, this target will turn green, and if we move lower, this target will turn red. So this just shows the uncertainty in the market, and we are running sideways. And that's obviously on the short-term chart. The daily chart is clearer in that we've got upside targets. We're still holding the cloud, but there's just some short-term uncertainty, and that's a key factor when we come to look at charts. Is just where are the what's the picture telling us, and it's uncertain in the short term. And we had Nvidia down nearly down 5% last night, 5.5%, and we'll take a look at that. We did a lot of work on Nvidia yesterday, and we'll take a look at that. But first of all, just looking at the markets. The NASDAQ, we're waiting to see if we activate this downside target. We've already activated the upside target, so that's quite key. Go to the 60-minute chart. That does give us a little bit of a clue in that the downside target in the sideways range was met and nearly, and now we've got an upside target in the sideways range. These targets just outside the range, but really that's the key point, is just watching what goes on there. But if we move to a new low, we activate the downside target. And of course, the high on the NASDAQ, quite different from the S&P 500, the high on the NASDAQ was back in October. So market has really just been range bound, and maybe that's a top, or maybe this is a consolidation pattern and we break higher. We've just got to keep assessing and watching the charts. The FTSE, that is clearly not in a range, and we've got upside target here we're traveling towards. That target was given back in September at 9,000. Remember, the dot is where the target is activated and given. That target was given at 9,500. We're now at 10,700. So we've had a really great run since that target. And if we look at the 60-minute chart, we're waiting for a pullback to generate the next target. You may have to go to an even shorter term chart still, but that's the FTSE looking strong. The DAX, similarly, we're waiting to see if we activate a new upside target. That was a buying thrust, and if we activate that, we run to a new target as well. Japan continues to look strong, up 1.3%, new all-time high there on the price, so that's really good. And then if we see, we've got the Hang Seng up 1%, also looking interesting. Bit more mixed. We've got a downside and an upside target. And again, if I want to resolve that, I can go to the 60-minute chart, and you can see that this downside here has the upper hand. So that's just always worth understanding, that on a different time frame, you may fall before you rise. The Sensex in India is up 0.5%, and that's ranging as well at the moment. Has been in a range for several months, really. And the Aussie market has broken to a new high this week, and that's activated a new upside target. So Australia looking strong, and that target is 8% away. So that's really interesting. And also on the 60-minute chart, we've activated an upside target there as well. So really quite key. Crude oil is up. In the energy mix, we actually went neutral today. We've got, this is European gas. We had big upside targets kicking in on the 1-minute chart yesterday, and downside targets kicking in. But so we've gone neutral on most things because it's just quite a mixed picture. But Monday will be very interesting there. Taking a look at some of the other products we've got, interestingly, we've seen sugar there. It's still looking weak in a downtrend. We've had a bit of a recovery here. This 14 level is really critical for sugar, and each time we get a recovery, that sets us up for the next selling thrust. That's how we need to understand the targets. Each recovery sets you up for the next selling thrust. So there's the 60-minute chart on sugar. Upside target met nearly. Now we've got a new downside. This here, then a recovery, then an activation that will lead to a new downside target. That's how you have to think about it. You can always imagine the targets before you even look at them. Now gold, interestingly, we're looking here, looking more and more like a recovery. 70% of people in my LinkedIn survey said we would go higher. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, please do like or subscribe. The more people who subscribe or like this, the better for me, and the more I can carry on doing it. Looking at silver, we are seeing here, we're up this morning, up 2%. And we're just, again, waiting to break that 91 level. But if we look at the daily chart, we are seeing that upside is having the upper hand, a higher low, higher high scenario playing out. Platinum up 4%, that's looking stronger. And we can see here on the 60-minute chart, we've got an upside target that we're moving towards. Looking at the tech majors, well, they were all lower, really. Well, I say that Microsoft recovered a bit and Meta was up, but actually, we're still seeing Amazon's still really falling away there. And really gapped down. But Nvidia, of course, all eyes were on Nvidia. And basically, if I look at the 1-minute chart for Nvidia, really simple to do. Just hit the T key, put the trend targets on. And these were the downside. This is just yesterday's trading. These were the downside target. So we're down 5.5%. We did say yesterday in the morning, in the charts today, that we did feel that Nvidia would struggle to make a new high, and we are still very much in this range. A move below 170 will be bad for the price. Just shows you it takes a lot. Now, I did a scan of the S&P 500 this morning. There are 30 stocks with multiple targets and a target of at least greater than 25%. I want to see multiple targets because the more buying thrusts means they're more likely to be met, and 25% is a good number just to reduce the number of stocks. I scanned the S&P 500. This is actually on Metastock data, so it's really straight forward. We're running an offer on Metastock this month, so this is on Metastock Zenith. And I just ran it on the S&P 500, and we can see here the power of the scans. So this is where they're ranked alphabetically. You can go for the largest target, but that's been priced. You can go for the largest percentage target. So it's Microchip Tech. They've got the largest upside target, 81%. You can see how long the target has been in place. So this one is a newer target on custom energy. You can see the percentage per period. So this is quite interesting. That just gives you the slope and the percentage per period from now, number of periods from activation. And one that's really interesting is how long to the target. So that's quite interesting, is how long will it take to get to the target. So I'm just going to go for the largest target first of all, and we could just click here and we see the results. So in fact, you can just scroll these charts, and that makes it just really easy to watch, and we can just literally go through the results, and one after another I can see the charts. So we can see each chart is producing targets, and the slope here is the standard 2. That's what I like to use, and we can see here upside targets. That one looks really good. This is why you've got to eyeball the targets, because you want to see multiple thrusts, and that's a really good example, eyeballing the charts. But I've got down to my 30. Here's one that's produced 3 very quick in succession upside targets. So again, really interesting there. You can scan, of course, any list you want. Now that I know the Aussie market's making new highs, I will want to scan that list. And here we see another one that looks really good. Good upside targets in train. This is what I call train tracks. So you just follow the train tracks. So here we see not as clear, but still quite good. We've had a fall away. This one, Nextera, looks pretty good, breaking to a new high, new upside target. And then, of course, you can check the 60-minute charts with these. So I could open the 60-minute charts and see how they look. So this is a great way to find the stocks that are making news. 3M, this is a Dow company. Anyway, that's it for today. Have a great weekend. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. And until Monday, happy charting. Bye for now.